Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon and Descendant for the month of October. I hope you're well. In the meditation that I just did before I started the camera rolling, I sit with your energy for a little bit before I even decide which cards I'm going to pick. And I didn't get the same feeling that I had last month. Last month, if you recall, I can't remember what came out exactly in that reading, but I know how I felt, and I felt like the energy that you were experiencing was much more like that I would associate with Scorpio. This time it's light and it kind of knocks me sideways every single time. I'm not even going to lie, the power of Pisces energy is somewhat terrifying to me, but I had a real feeling of nausea in the pit of my stomach, so I don't know what's going to come out today, but it seems like you're in a better place than you were last time we spoke, but it's maybe not really better, too much better yet. I don't know. No, it is better, but it's not resolved. So 3 cards for Pisces, please. 2 have come out together, and they are Temperance and the 10 of Swords. That's in your recent past. I'm not sure if that Temperance card wanted to come out, maybe it did. I'll show them properly in a second. Let's Pisces current energy, please. 10 of Wands. And what's coming towards Pisces for October, please? 2 together. We've got the 8 of Pentacles and the 8 of Swords, right? The 8 of Swords was in reverse, mind. 2 8s there, right? So, at the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Cups. Okay. Feel adjustment. Oh my god, I've just got the worst goosebumps in the fucking... you won't be able to see, but I've just come over and goosebumps all over. Right. I'm going to use the Wild Unknown to clarify. Just check they're all the right way around. They are. There's a little bump as well. Whew. Right. Tell me what the Temperance and 10 of Swords is. Got the Wheel of Fortune. There's a number of cards that have flipped over here. Strength, the Ace of Swords, the World, the Hermit. What's that? 9 of Wands. There's your card, the High Priestess, 10 of Wands, Mother of Cups, which is the Queen of Cups. There's a lot of repeating cards there. I'll put those all back in. Another card for Temperance and 10 of Swords, please. There we are. We've got the 2 of Pentacles there. Something fall out there. Yeah, something fell down here as well. Right. Why is the 10 of Wands here, please? We have the High Priestess and the 10 of Wands. Gonna pull some more cards for this, I think, definitely. Let's just get these main ones out on the table. Why is the 8 of Swords here with the 8 of Pentacles? There's that 9 of Wands again. Oh, 9 of Wands and 7 of Swords. Right. At the bottom of the deck we've got the Lovers, which is not a card I associate particularly with romantic or sexual relationships. For me it is a card of conscious co-creation. It's a card of manifestation. It's a card about stepping up and making decisions that affect your life in some way. This is going to be pertinent later, so I'm going to put it down now, but we will come back to it. So, do you know what? hoodie on. Oh, actually, just so covered in goosebumps, I'm frozen. Oh, really cold. It was really, really hot 5 minutes ago. Okay. So the first two cards that you've got are the Temperance card and the Ten of Swords. Temperance is the card of Sagittarius, and it may be that there's been a Sagittarius involved somewhere with what it was that you were experiencing last month, right? But I think for the majority of you, that isn't the case, right? Because what my eye is drawn to more than anything else is this drifting away from a ball that this character's holding. She's holding a ball here. And there's something coming out and it's kind of drifting away. It's kind of like an oriental dragon, actually. I don't know if the camera will pick that up there. It feels like something has left you. It feels like something has gone. Right? That feels quite strong. And we've got, you know, a resulting Ten of Swords energy, which is a card that talks about hitting rock bottom, right? It's when things are, when you are at your lowest ebb and that everything feels slightly, can you hear how this is starting to affect my voice? I feel like my voice is wobbling a little bit as I'm trying to express what I'm saying. It can talk about betrayal. It can talk about humiliation. It can talk about really, really feeling abandoned. Abandoned, this is the right word that I'm looking for. Really being at your lowest ebb, right? In the Ten of Swords, we usually see a person who has been left for dead and they've got 10 swords in their back, right? Their eyes turn towards the dawn though, because, you know, it's always darkest before the dawn, but the sun does rise. It's very difficult to hold on to that when you're in that kind of energy. That trust, that hope that things can be better, but that is what the card refers to. Now, in both of these cards in this deck, which is the Shadowscapes, just in case you're interested, we've got something releasing and going up. For some of you, this may have been a bereavement. For others of you, it is just a sense of loss. Something has gone. Something has either left you or been taken from you in some way. And you're feeling pretty fucking down about it. Now, the fact that this is clarified by the Wheel of Fortune says that this was not a coincidence. This has happened exactly as it was supposed to. And it's left you feeling like this because this is how you are supposed to be feeling right now. There are energies and emotions that you are supposed to be working through. And at the moment, well, certainly in the recent past, that has felt a little bit like a Sisyphean task. You know, it's pushing for water uphill with a fork or something, right? Your emotional space has been very, very messy inside. And it's fallen to you to try and make sense of it in some way. Right? You're supposed to be turning your internal space, or the point of all of this was turning your internal space from this to this, right? There's a transformation that occurs as you work through this, as you process what has occurred here, right? Butterflies, big symbols of transformation, but the Two of Pentacles talks about that balance, you know. But and for Pisces, that's often the compromise of being a resolutely spiritual being trapped inside something that is limited, right? Which is the human body, you know, the human experience is limiting in a lot of ways. And I think for you, more than any other sign, you really, really struggle with this. Now, it's interesting because I think the last reading that I did for you was the one where I felt really strongly that there was something very, very badly wrong with a lot of Pisces. But up until that point, they had been getting progressively better, and I seem to recall dimly in the back of my head saying that you had somehow worked out how to be this spiritual being inside a human body, right? So although whatever it is that you've experienced has ended up being some sort of, emotional grenade, I don't want to use the word test, but it's been No, test is horrible. It's a horrible way to put it. It's making you work for it, I guess, is how I feel, right? It's asking you to do what it is that you now know that you are capable of doing, right? Do it on the fly. Do it as you go along. I don't mind telling you, I feel fucking awful inside here. Like, I feel like what I want to do is just stare at a wall. And I don't feel like this is my energy. I feel like this is your energy. Right? And we'll come back to that because, yeah. So, in your current energy, you've got the 10 of Wands. And in this card that speaks of burden, it speaks of great responsibility. We have this character who almost looks like a tree. She's carrying an entire city on her back. Right? I love this deck, and I particularly love this for you because I feel like it helps me anchor my interpretations of the energy that I feel off you in a way that you can all understand. You know, it's it helps me with the limits of my emotional vocabulary, I think. But it's a card of burden. It's a card of responsibility. Right? It can talk about taking on too much responsibility. It can talk about feeling really, really weighed down by what it is that you're experiencing. You know, when I pulled the two clarifiers that came out for this, the first one was exactly the same card. It was the 10 of Wands, and it's difficult energy. Look at that. You know, it's actually kind of reminiscent of this here. You see that messy selection of sticks there. It's like all the colours gone out of the world, you know. And I feel like what you're dealing with at the moment is trying to reconcile this to what it is that you know of yourself, what it is that your soul knows. And I honestly, I feel like you're struggling a little bit, Pisces. Right? These two cards speak really clearly of that. I actually feel like I understand this one more than this one. But the second card that came out to clarify the 10 of Wands is the High Priestess, and that is your card. It's a card of Pisces. It's a card that speaks of inaction. It's very passive. It talks about knowing, and you do know. You know, it also talks of being a channel, being a conduit. You know, it's a connection to your higher self. It speaks very strongly of intuition too. But you are showing up really, really strongly in your own reading here, and that, you know, all the other cards put to one side, that gives me a lot of hope for you, because you are not crushed by this, no matter how far down you feel like you are at the moment. And it is, yeah, it is down. You're not out of the game, right? Get some more clarifiers for this from the Lost Forest. Tell me about this High Priestess. Why is the High Priestess here for Pisces? I've got the Tower, right? It's a card of Scorpio, sometimes Aries as well. But it talks about something that has been your foundation being torn away from you, and it is a very, very difficult energy, and it very, very rarely feels like it's a good thing. Right? When it's happening, it feels like your entire world is falling apart. But it is clearing space. Now, whether this is clearing space in I don't know. I don't feel like for any of you, what it is that you've lost, what it is that is gone, is something that you are grateful for losing. I think quite the reverse. I think that it's feeling like a bit of a slap in the face from the universe here at this point. But there is something beyond this, and I don't think for now what that is yet clear, or at least it's not available for you to see you know, because I always say when you get a sign showing up in their own reading, you know, when their major arcana card comes out, right, that is them showing up in their authentic form. It's an authentic expression of power, and it's an authentic statement of who they are being there. And it feels like, whether you realize it or not, this is going to be a very empowering... No, that's the wrong word. That's a completely insensitive way of putting it. Who you are when you come out the other side of this will be much, much stronger than who you are currently, right? I think that's a better way of putting it. I've got the World card at the bottom of the deck there. I just want to point that out to you, followed by the Three of Swords. Right? Something has ended and it's broken your heart. High Priestess. Something about this is designed to, like I said, give you a much stronger sense of who you are, because there's the Chariot, right? That's the card that talks about the self with a capital S. Now for Pisces, a problem that you've struggled with your entire life and is almost always raising its head at some point in the reading is this way in which your energy meshes with everything that's around you. Now, as you were starting to get on top of that in you know, the last few months' readings, for you there's been a notion of emotional and spiritual boundaries that you've needed to put up, not only to stop other people kind of trampling in on you, but also to stop you drifting too far away from yourself. This is about pulling all of your power back into you, all of your energy back into you. Why it is that you've needed to have your heart broken to do it, I don't know. I can't tell you. But I can feel how excoriating this entire situation has been for you. And you're asked to trust. Simply that. Just trust. And in the meantime, process the feelings that have come to the surface as a result of this loss, because a lot of what you're feeling isn't the loss itself, it's touching something else inside of you. Yeah, it's bounced off a trigger that maybe you didn't know you had, maybe you'd forgotten you had, or maybe you thought you'd dealt with. Either way, it's come to the surface in its most raw and potent form to require you to deal with it now. It seems like a very cruel way to teach you the lesson, but I understand the lesson. And you, as Pisces, you understand that everything is a lesson too, because you are a spiritual being, right? Now what's coming towards you in October is more difficult energy. We've got those two eights. We've got the Eight of Swords in the upright, and we've got the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. Now this makes me very uncomfortable, Pisces, because because neither of those cards in that way, presenting in that way, are really what I wanted to see for you, right? If they come out opposite, that would have been perfect. If the Eight of Swords had been in reverse and the Eight of Pentacles had been in the upright, that would have been wonderful. But that's not what's happened. So, the Eight of Swords is about feeling trapped, right? It is feeling frustrated, feeling restricted, feeling oppressed quite a bit. You know, it's that real trapped energy. And because it's swords, really, this refers to the limitations that we create in our own mind, right? Sometimes it's kind of like a cry for help. It's a wishing that somebody else would come along and just save you, just take some of it away, whether it's burden or whether it's pain, you know? The thing is, because it's mostly in here, right? That's where the limitations are. That's where you're trapped. The implication is, in order to move on, you need to be the one to extricate yourself from this, right? We've got a swan at the bottom of this card here, and it's kind of all tied up in brambles, and sharp thorns, and there are skulls around on the floor as There's a warning that others have been where you are now, and others have failed to extricate themselves from the energy that they find themselves in. You know, this whole scene, you know, what looks to be like a big dark cloud is actually some kind of fairly sharp looking character, and it's actually his cloak that is covering all of that. You can see there at the top the man. Yeah. But there's this great light here, and right in the center there's a hummingbird. And it feels like, well, you know, all the light is emanating from this hummingbird. It feels like there's somebody coming in here, not to rescue you, but to remind you that it's possible to be somewhere other than here. Right? This bird is too small to actually do the job of pulling this giant swan out of here, but it's kind of, it's illuminating where you are to show you how it is that you can, you know, that there is this space above you, there's somewhere that you can go if you can just get free of these thorns. Well, I don't like that for you in and of itself anyway, but I don't like the Eight of Pentacles either, because that feels a little bit like giving up. This way round, it talks about like really working at something to achieve mastery, and the depiction, I love this depiction because it's got a spider on it, right? A spider on a web. It's a card of great industry, you know, someone working away, beavering away at something, regardless of what's going on around them. You know, they've just got their head down and they're working on something. It's a great card to see in the upright, but it's come out in the reverse for you, and it feels like you just don't want to work at anything. You don't, it's giving up, right? Now, when it's coming directly after a card that's talking about you being trapped and you needing to extricate yourself, it rather does feel like this energy is going to perpetuate through the month of October, and it's going to take a rather Herculean effort from you to pull yourself free. The thing is, if you're not prepared to work at it, if you're not prepared to put that energy into there, and you do give up, you're essentially, I'm trying to think of the word, it's just completely gone, consigning yourself to the fate of the other swans that has, you know, that have gone before you, that have been stuck there before you got there. Now, the two cards that came out to clarify that were the Seven of Swords and the Nine of Wands. Now, the Seven of Swords can talk about deceit, it can talk about deceptive behaviour, it can talk about all sorts of things, but it can also talk about taking a risk. I think foxes get a really bad rap, and that makes me sad, because I really like foxes. They're smart. They, you know, yes, they've got a bit of cunning, and yes, they can be savage as fuck, actually, if you let them in a hen house, or give them access to a hen house. I've had chickens that met their end from foxes, just a couple, and it was brutal. But, you know, they are really rather beautiful, and they're intelligent. Anyway, this is not a, you know, Fox Appreciation Society. What I'm drawn to in this card is we've got these 6 swords up here, right? The 7th sword is underneath the fox, down here. Now this one, isolated from the others, then becomes an Ace of Swords, right? It becomes the truth. It becomes the clarity of thinking. It's separated from these. 6 swords talk about moving away from situations that have, you know, really been difficult in some way. The usual depiction of the 6 of Swords shows 2 figures huddled in a boat being kind of, you know, rowed away by a man who's taking them from choppy waters into calmer waters. Now these swords are up here on the wall. There is a need to move. There is a need to take a risk and set yourself away from where you find yourself at the moment. But it feels like there's a risk that you need to take before you get to that, and maybe it's risking actually working at this. I'm going to pull some clarifiers, have a look. But this fox here, this symbol of ingenuity, I feel like is part of you that you are not allowing to operate at the moment. And I feel like part of it is because you are so flooded with emotion that you're not thinking straight at the moment, right? Tell me about this Seven of Swords, please. Tell me about the Seven of Swords. That I like, right? At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Two of Wands. That is crossroads energy. Pisces, you're in a really, really important place at the moment, right? It's sink or swim. You choose, because that's what this is saying. You need to choose whether you stay where you are or whether you go. The energy is going to be really difficult for you in October, right? And as things stand, without a shift in perspective from you, without you pushing beyond what you think you're capable of, you're going to stay exactly where you are, right? The Four of Cups is here because I just genuinely feel like you're refusing. It kind of feels like you're refusing to engage with the world on the level that you need to at the moment, right? You've just kind of gone back inside your shell here, like we can see there, this little creature here, and you're just like, no, fuck off. Like, world, leave me alone. I'm not interested in engaging anymore. I tried. I was playing nice, and you fucked it for me. Now, why should I continue? Why should I come along? The thing is, if you start thinking logically, if you look at this for what it is, I think that you're going to start seeing a way through, right? We've got the Eight of Pentacles, but it's come out the right way up, right? Clarifying this Seven of Swords. You need to move, but you need to understand that you need to move. Not just intellectually, but also emotionally. You cannot let yourself stagnate where you are right now. Because if you do, inaction at this point, right, a refusal to pick a direction means that you are consigning yourself to that place where nothing moves, where you do give up. Is there anything else to say about that? Yeah. So, there's a card of burden again. And here's the Eight of Cups. Regardless of how much it hurts, regardless of how emotionally pained you are at the moment, it is incumbent upon you to find the energy somewhere to stand up and walk away from this. Whatever it is, it's over and it's gone, and it's not coming back in the way that you want it to. Now, sink or swim, Pisces. This is how it feels, right? The second clarifier for those two eights is the Nine of Wands. It's my card of boundaries. Somewhere here, right? It's time to test those boundaries again, right? Have you just let them fall altogether? Or have they just, did you forget that they were there? Because it's time to pull your energy back into you, right? It does nothing when it's floating around the planet, grieving. You have to pull it back to the meat suit that you're in now. It's vitally important. And about the Nine of Wands. come out, first card, was the Page of Pentacles. And then these two came out together. Right? The Four of Swords and the Queen of Cups. The Page of Pentacles for me is a card of starting anew at something, right? It can be sometimes the card of the student, but it indicates to me knowing the value of something, right? It's getting ready to go off and make more of these, and that's how it comes to mean a new start for me. Something has been taken away. The Tower has ripped it from your life, and now it's time for you to rebuild something, right? There's something salvageable from this, and I believe it's you, Pisces, if I'm honest. That's what the Pentacle is here. And although your light may be low and dim at the moment, you know, it's like an acorn, like this little creature's got here. You plant that and it's going to grow into a big oak tree. Now, it genuinely could be something like giving you a first-hand experience of loss so that you in future are able to counsel people through, guide people through, help people through in similar circumstances. I'm just going to throw that in there because that could well be true for some of you. But the point is, whatever remains of you after this experience, right, it's strong and it's got the ability to grow into something really, really not only powerful and tall and sturdy and capable of supporting others, but something actually truly connected to the earth, as a tree is. You know, it's grounded, really grounded energy. The Four of Swords to me is talking about taking a step back from this, right? I often think that a degree of objectivity is implied when you see this card, because it's about stepping back from the things that have hurt you, as you would get with the Three of Swords, adding that extra sword in, which is the new insight, the new way to see something, right? And giving yourself time to process the things. Now, I don't know if for some of you there is a feeling that if you do all of this, if you do everything that I've suggested that you do, that in some way that you are not honouring properly the emotions that you felt, the difficult emotions that you feel. And to that, I would say no. I think that that's incorrect, right? I think if anything, it's giving you an even deeper ability to love than you had before, if such a thing was possible, right? But there will be new things coming in, right? There's never a gap for long before the universe posts something new in there for you to see. But there's quite a lot for you to work through, and it's really, really important that you find from somewhere, you summon this energy to kind of fight. I don't like using fiery Leo words at you, because it's not you. But I do feel strongly like you need to pull your energy back in to you. Yeah. Okay, Pisces, I'm going to leave it here because it's like 34 minutes or something now. And I'm going to go over to Vimeo and kind of pull this apart a little bit more. I don't know how you navigate in this energy. Honestly, I don't. It's quite humbling to experience. So anyway, I'm going over to Vimeo. If you're interested in following me, the link is in the description box. If not, please try and remember what I said. As things play out in October, right, and if you can possibly manage it, little steps, bringing your energy back to you, putting those boundaries back up and keeping you safe. Because brighter times are coming. They are. But for now, you've just got some challenging stuff to work through, okay? So know that I love you all very, very much. And I'll see you soon.